Hello, welcome to the Play and Explain. Um, we'll be four tabling 500 regular tables. It's Saturday morning around 9 a.m. Bottom right, we've got a hand. I open the button. This is a heads up hand. I open button, big blind defense. I decide to check the flop, and now facing an overbet turn. I think our best option is to call. He's betting about 1.5 pot, so we need about 40% equity. I think our overs are live. Sometimes we have the best hand. Villain can have a lower flush draw or a straight draw. So, yeah, I think this is a pretty clear call. And I think on a 6, villain may choose to, yeah, I think when he checks, we're going to be good a lot of the times. So we don't need to turn our hand into a bluff. I was debating bluff catching, but I think we have like ace king, ace 10 that check back the flop, and maybe some like jack x as well. So this can probably be an easy fold if we did face a bet on the river. But yeah, I think this is a pretty easy check back. In terms of when we do face the overbet, what we expect that range to be, I'm going to guess it's bluff heavy on a queen jack 6 suited board. Yeah, I think the big blind's just going to have so many bluffs there. Could 3-bet this sometimes, but I think versus a 3x, it's a fold. I think against the button it would be a 3-bet. And obviously versus a 3-bet, we're not cold 4-betting this hand. The games at 9 a.m. on a Saturday seem to be pretty reggy, just from a few hands that I've seen. But I'm sure there are still some fish out here. Okay, facing a 3x open. Looks like this guy's using a standard 3x sizing. We should be doing less calling and more 3-betting versus a larger size. I'm going to 3-bet this hand. So I'm going to go like 3x. And opening king jack off in the hijack on the bottom right. And facing a 3-bet, I think that's a pretty easy fold. Yeah, too weak to call, too weak to 4-bet. Facing an under the gun min raise and a cutoff call. It's tempting to squeeze this hand, but since it's a min raise, we're getting such good pot odds. Yeah, I'm pretty indifferent about squeezing and calling, so since it's early on in the session and yeah, I still don't really have player reads yet. I'm just going to play on the passive side and not go for the squeeze. Maybe later on in the session, if I have a better idea on the player types, I might go for the squeeze or start playing a little more aggressive. Here on the bottom right, just going to start off with a 1/3 c-bet. Generally my strategy on paired boards, even though this board the big blind probably has more fours and connects more with the lower cards. I'm still going to c-bet here. Facing a large sizing from the button. I think this hand is close, but it's probably a fold. It would be much better if there was one diamond out there. Yeah, we just have bottom pair and a backdoor straight draw. So I'm just gonna let this go. Facing a pot size bet, we need to be, yeah, just need like 30% equity versus their range, which we might have, but it's hard to over-realize being out of position versus two. Not a queen. It's a reasonable card. It's a barrel. I'm out of a time bank. Okay. Down here, I'm going to call with pocket fours. Facing a 1/3 bet. We only need to be good about 20% of the time. Ace-6 is definitely close. Having a 6 is kind of bad, given that we block 5-6, 3-6, etc. So I think I'm going to make a tight fold, even though I don't love it. Oh crap. Yeah, time bank. Pretty interesting to note that this guy flatted ace-king. Definitely not a standard play. He bet, yeah, this guy checked king 10 suited, so checking a strong top, it's not a strong top pair, but checking top pair multi-way is definitely, I guess that's standard. It's nothing out of the ordinary, and this guy checking down bottom pair, probably on the passive side. Yeah, I think we can take a lot of information out of just one showdown. So, cut off flats ace king pre, which isn't too crazy, but it is a little strange. Bets, and then checks on a queen river. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. There's still king jack and king 10. Jack 10 gets there. Yeah, I think checking ace-king is reasonable. I would probably bet, because I'm a greedy bastard, but... I don't know. I think, like that data point is kind of important when we're thinking about squeezing with like a marginal hand, because if he has more stronger hands in his flattening range, then we want to be squeezing less. But obviously one showdown isn't enough to deviate off of yet. It could very much be the case that seat number 4 is somewhat of a recreational player, and he's flatting a really wide range. So yeah, there could be arguments for squeezing more if his range is wider. So I mean, there's both sides of the argument. Facing an open, a min raise, I'm going to flat with ace 4 suited. Yeah, one of the few spots where we can have a flatting range. We're getting a good price. Okay, I'm gonna check this back. On an ace turn, this can... we probably don't want to overplay our hand. We chop with a lot of other aces. I think the blinds are more likely to have a 6. We don't really need to bet for protection. It is possible that like the blinds or the under the gun raiser has like king jack jack 10, like a straight draw or something. or a flush draw as well. But yeah, I'm gonna check here and yeah, see what happens on the river. Okay, so um, by the river, yeah, I think if under the gun folds, okay, he calls. I think I'm gonna call because I'm chopping a lot. The price is really good. The big blind um, is, it's unlikely that he's bluffing, but it's possible. He might also be betting a queen. It's unlikely, but possible. Um, yeah, I think we're gonna chop a lot, lose sometimes, so just calling. Okay, yeah, the big blind is just bluffing into like two players who likely have some showdown. Yeah, that bluff is like, he would need both of us to have like complete air, which is possible but unlikely given that we probably start. It's hard to bluff into multiple people, but I don't know. When it checks to the river like that, we're going to have a lot of pairs. Okay, defending the ace-8 off. Big blind versus button open. Only have 15 hands, but can already start. Yeah, it looks like this guy, I don't know, 15 hands isn't enough for hard reads, but looks like he's on the recreational side. With a gutter and blocking the nut flush draw, or the nut flush blocker, we could probably bet and bluff on diamonds. Seems like a spot where I guess we do have some natural bluffs with like queen jack, jack 9, any 9-8, 9x, 8x. So maybe this is a bet and then a check on the river, given that we have a little bit of showdown. But I think I'm going to bet. Okay, the fish opens under the gun. I think this hand can go either way, between a call and a 3-bet. But I think I'm going to 3-bet. I'm not really sure what this guy's opening, like if he's opening tight or if he's opening loose. Yeah, I think this hand can go either way. I'm probably leaning more towards 3-betting just because villain is fishy. And probably like, yeah, flatting like 8s down. Okay, facing a 3x under the unopen. This is probably near the bottom of my defend range. Yeah, villain's range should be pretty tight. Also with the 3x open, we don't want to be getting too out of line with our defense. This is really close, I think. I think I'm going to float. We have good blockers, the 10x. We have some backdoor straight possibilities. Yeah, I think the issue kind of begins with like if we do hit a pair, we might be dominated, and it's also a card where villain's going to be betting on like a queen or a jack turn. But yeah, I think we have a little bit too much playability with this hand to fold to a half pot bet. On the turn, I don't think this is a card we can lead on. I don't know. I'd be curious to know how we should be constructed on the turn, but maybe it is a card we can lead on. I guess if we have like more sevens. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I feel like under the gun should be checking back a lot here. There's really no point in betting like aces or like an overpair or something because they don't really need protection versus my drawing hands. I'm like really tempted to raise, but I'm pretty unclear what to do, and I'd rather raise a hand that has equity. So I think I'm just going to fold this. Yeah, I think it's a good sizing by under the gun on the turn, because by that point I'm going to have like either like a 10x, 7x, or just like really, really weak hands. This is the guy earlier that didn't 3-bet ace king off. Looks like he's sort of like a loose aggressive recreational player. Ace 10 off, I'm just going to go out of my way to play versus this villain. I think he's recreational, and yeah, I have an okay hand on the button. The price is good, so I'm gonna call and see what happens. Ace 6 offsuit, I'm gonna defend versus small blind open. Yeah, disconnected king high board. I feel like the small blind could be c-betting range on this board. I don't think I want to get too out of line with my stabs. We have a ton of worse hands to stab with, and yeah, I think we just start getting out of line if we start stabbing that hand. And yeah, once villain checks twice, he's probably got some ace high or some pair. Small chance that he has air. I feel like if we bet, all of his better ace highs call and all of his air folds, so there's really no point. I don't think there's much EV gain from betting that hand. By the river, I think it's a decent bluff opportunity if we can get like ace 10, ace 7. I guess there's not even like that many ace highs. Yeah, I'm just gonna check this back. Hopefully villain has air. Okay. Good check back. I'm gonna bet 1/3 on this board. I'm gonna open the queen 9. Man, I don't know. I think that's a misclick on the hotkeys. Okay. On the 8 turn, I'm still going to bet. I think a lot of 10x is going to continue calling. Going to size up a little bit since villain is a perceived fish. I'm going to float with the backdoor nut flush draw. Okay, I'm going to check aces here. Yeah, I think if we bet here, it's probably too thin. Like what might call a river bet? Like ace high maybe? Some pocket pairs. Maybe I go small. and bet fold. And here I'm going to check back with the ace of spades. And here I'm going to call. I don't think there's much value in raising. Okay. And that's what I get for being greedy. Oh yeah, I think we're just going to struggle playing turns out of position, so it's good to protect our check call range. And this seemed like a pretty good hand to do it with. Here, yeah, I should probably start checking back rivers, maybe? I don't know. Like, most people aren't bluff raising there, but I feel like this villain might be capable. He's like, his stats are all over the place, so... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should just avoid... Yeah, just not betting the river would help me avoid facing a river decision, a tough river decision. Over here with sixes, gonna check. I think it's a heads up pot. And it's a single raise heads up pot, and it's been checked to on the river. Would have likely called a bet, but would definitely need to see the sizing. And yeah, villain had ace 3, so had a double gutter and gave up. Here defending with ace 3 off versus a min raise, heads up. Yeah, connected, high board. We did not connect, so I'm just gonna fold. Maybe with the ace of spades we can consider calling or raising, but yeah, our hand just doesn't have much equity on this board. Okay, gonna c-bet with pocket kings. Generally on like 9 high boards I like using a larger sizing. I think kings is a good hand to throw into that large size. Um, 6-4 off feels close. I think I'm gonna open it. Probably gonna get punished. Yeah, we can just open a lot of hands, heads up on the button. Yeah, I think that's close. That's probably like the bottom of my opening range, if not the absolute bottom. I'm gonna defend with the 6-9 off versus a min raise. Bottom pair and a gutter. I think if we do face a bet, I don't think our hand wants to be in the raising range. We have yeah, we have decent equity. Facing a 2/3 sizing. Yeah, just gonna start with a call. Turn a 6. Could lead on this card. Down here we flop combo draw. Gonna start off with a bet. Could definitely check it back, but we have like ace 5 of diamonds or something. Worse hands to check back. Here I think so villain bet big on the flop, so I think his range is going to be a little more condensed. If it would have been like a range bet, I would probably lead the turn more, but since his his range is a little more polar, we can just start checking, I think. And over here, facing a low jack open, check 2 on the river. I'm going to go for some value. So I'm going to go like 2/3. Okay, and villain over bets. I think we just call. Our hand doesn't need too much protection. The 9 is nice because if villain is going crazy with like queen jack suited or something, we can cooler villain. Yeah, also I don't think we should be raising that much anyway versus overbet size. Okay, pretty gross river. Some of villain's turn overbet range is going to be combo draws or turned backdoor flush draws. I think I'm going to check and decide. Having the 9 is, I think it's nice because we block 9/7, but we do block some bluffs like jack 9. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised that villain gave up. Oh, he had ace 10, so maybe we missed out on some value. Like if he would have used the normal size on the turn, I probably raise. But versus an overbet, I think it's good to include some 6s in our call range, and that seemed like a good 6 to do it with. Facing a 3-bet. Villain is a little shorter. Queen 10 off is close. Yeah, I think I'm gonna fold. I mean, it's easy to say that villain could be steaming after losing a big pot, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's supposed to be a call. Like studying heads-up ranges has been on my to-do list for so long. Okay, 9/5/5. We have backdoor straight, backdoor flush. Could raise, could call. I think I'm gonna call. Queen high could be good, a decent amount of the time. And we turn a gutter. I think I'm going to just check call again, depending on sizing. By this point, I don't think villain is going to be bluffing ace-sizing king highs. So I think queen high is good a decent amount of the time. Yeah, we're protected with 5s, like 5x. We have plenty of strong hands, like 7-8, etc. So not a spot where villain can just like blast off on the river. So okay, and this is I think this is a spot where I expect villain to like almost never bluff, which is a bold statement, but yeah, like my 9x is pretty inelastic, so if he is going to bluff, he'd have to use a really big sizing. And yeah, I think this is just unbalanced to value. I don't know. Just my guess. I'm going to check back the top pair here, blind versus blind. Hand doesn't need too much protection. Villain overbets, pretty clear call. Villain can be doing this with like ace 10, any 10x, some ace king maybe, who knows, some turn diamonds. We're in position with top pair, so it's just a no-brainer call. Okay. Here I'm going to c-bet about 1/3. Jack low board. Low boards favor the big blind, but since ranges are so wide here, anyone can have anything really, so. And villain checks. I think our hand's too strong to turn into a bluff. Yeah, just gonna check this back. Okay, so yeah, villain had ace 10 on the turn. Just it kind of makes sense. His line makes sense because he's checking ace high on the flop. Once I check back in position, I probably have some showdown value, so he chose an overbet size. Yeah, it all makes sense after you see the showdown. Looks like the button is playing pretty tight. Do I want to get out of line with my 3 bets? I'm going to pass this time, since we didn't fill up. Checking pocket jacks on an ace high board. We could bet range small, blind versus blind, but I'm going to choose to check this time. And check calling. Over here defending with ace deuce, and over here opening pocket deuces. Okay, we turn a diamond. It's nice that we have a diamond. Yeah, just going to continue again. Villain has plenty of straight draw, bluffs, some 1 diamond hands that are bluffing, so it's going to call. And calling here with bottom pair. And this hand I'm pretty indifferent on betting or checking. I think I'm going to check, because this villain seems to be aggressive, so he might start bluffing the turn if we check the flop. Over here, I'm just going to check. Okay, yeah, he had queen 8 with the queen of diamonds, so just had a diamond. And over here, I think I'm going to check back again. I don't think we have too much fold equity versus pairs. Okay, facing a 3x 3-bet from the blinds, I'm going to call. Obviously we have better bluff catchers here. Yeah, I'm just gonna fold, given the villain's short stack, and pretty tempting to call with deuces, honestly. Facing a 1.5 pot size bet, we need to be good, like, I don't know, 40% of the time. If villain had air, why wouldn't he bet the turn? That's like the only concerning data point. If villain had air, why wouldn't he bet the turn? Because the turn was an ace? Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna let it go. Here, flopping a gut shot and blocking a spade. I'm going to start with a C bet. Yeah, I think his sizing is pretty good, because my range is like capped. I can still have some really weak aces that check the turn, but that's like the strongest hand I'm going to have there, I think. Maybe some 5x, who knows. This is a potentially a decent candidate to double barrel, blocking ace jacking ace 10. I think I'm going to do it. We should have a pretty significant advantage with our strong aces. And on this river, just going to give up. We block villains, floats, and yeah, any ace x is chopping, so they're just like never folding. And over here, I'm going to c-bet, about 1/3. Looks like villain is somewhat recreational player. And we get punished. Yeah, villain uses a pretty good sizing of like 6x. Yeah, don't have much equity, so I'm going to fold. Okay, triple Broadway board. I'm gonna start off with a big C bet. Might just go pot. Yeah. Oh no. Not the fish. Okay, 10 is probably one of the worst cards for us. Yeah, gonna slow down. In terms of like better bluffs, I don't know. I'm kind of cool with just checking back really high frequency on the turn. Because we likely don't bet a 10 on the flop for that sizing. I mean, we could, but then likely doesn't expect us to. Is it worth bluffing the river? It's possible if villain floated the flop with ace high. Having a jack is bad, right? So if we had like 9 high, it would be a better bluff because we could get ace high and jack high to fold. But when we have jack high, yeah, I'm just gonna check. Yeah, I mean, expect villain to have ace high, a king or a queen there a lot. Especially when we pot the flop. And then it goes check check on the turn and he checks the river. You could have some, still have some 10x that's trapping. Yeah, I think in theory, maybe we were supposed to be bluffing, but I'm cool with just giving up. Whoa. Okay, not sure what to feel about that hand. Guess I went open jam. I'm gonna raise to like 18. Facing a limp from most likely a fish. These people are nuts. I guess it's only like 15 big blinds. Okay, defending the big blind with queen 9 off. Flopping top pair. Looks like villain's a reg, a weak reg. Okay, check check on the flop. Ace turn. Both players should have plenty of aces, with the button having a lot of the stronger aces. I expect him to be betting this card a lot for a small sizing. Okay, and he checks it back. So, on the river, I think when he checks on an ace, he can still have some weaker ace-x. He can still have a lot of like 7x, 6x, and then the lower pocket pairs. So we beat a decent portion of his range. We don't really want to bet for value. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna check. Alright, looks like my hotkeys are not working. Oops. 3-bet with pocket tens. This is a pretty big 3-bet. So I'm going to fold. Facing a pot size lead. I think this hand is close. I'm gonna call. And yeah, evaluate turns. Expect this lead to be stronger than the normal donk. Okay, what do we have here? Villain goes pot, pot. I mean, we could be ahead sometimes. Let's see if I can pull my Nuffle notes up. Like, we could be ahead sometimes. Villain has like the lower straight draws, and also yeah, just like random air as well. Let's see, facing a pot size bet on the turn. I guess we call. Okay, well, here I'm going to check back. I think I could start bluffing the lower nut flush draws, but here I'm going to check. And likely checking down. Facing a turn, pot size bet, and then facing a river check. It's like a spot where I want to go really big. But I'm gonna go small. And over here, checking down a showdown. And here, I think our hand can go either way. I'm going to start off with a check. Okay, my hotkeys are not working. Why are you not working? Yeah, maybe this isn't a spot where we should blindly follow Nuffle. Villain had Jack 10, so maybe we use the right sizing. But with like 2 draws breaking, like the front door and back door, flush draws breaking, and also the fact that he went pot pot, he probably has a stronger hand than normal. I don't know. No, because if he had a really strong hand, he's probably going all 3 streets, right? Interesting Nuffle spot. Going to call one, limp pot. Yeah, just gonna check. Yeah, button limps, and I check a 6-8 off. Yeah, I think we just jam. Don't think there's too much. We could call and allow villain to bluff rivers, but I think villain is capable of making a calling mistake here, calling with like a gutter or something. And he might have checked that hand back on the river too. Here, this guy opens kind of big. 3s, I'm just gonna fold. Maybe, we probably should be getting involved because we're 150 bigs deep. No. Oh well, we probably wouldn't have made it to the flop anyway with this 3-bet. I don't know, maybe we do call. Okay, gonna open 3x with, since we're a little deeper, and also the big blind is likely a whale. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious why Nuffle prefers betting 1/3 facing a river check after villain goes pot pot. 3 betting, ace king off, button versus hijack, pretty standard stuff. Yeah, there's also like, oh yeah, is weak. Alright, let's, if this hotkey doesn't work again, oh it works this time. It's weird. Okay, so I opened the hijack, face a 3-bet. Think I'm going to call, but this is pretty close. We don't have any hands on the villain. Let's see. Calling 45, so villain used like a 5x sizing. Yeah, I think he can go either way actually. I think I'm gonna call. Expect villain's range to be, like, you know, obviously the premium hands, and then some like, suited broadways, and then the bottom portion of his range is like the low suited connectors. Using a really small size, this is pretty close. He should connect pretty well on this board, so I think I'm just gonna make a really tight fold. Our backdoor straight draw is like also not that great either. Here I'm gonna defend. Looks like villain is kind of fishy. And here defending blind versus blind. Over here just giving up with no equity, and here defending with king jack off. I'm gonna float one with vector straight, vector flush draw, facing a 1/3 c-bet. We only need like 20% equity. We're in position. We should be over realizing. And we get a pretty good turn card. Here I'm going to just call with top pair, good kicker. Okay, facing another 1/3 sizing. What to do? We get, I think I'm just gonna call and bluff on diamonds. Villain using two like back-to-back small sizings is strange, I think. Over here, we are check 2 on the turn. I think our hand can go for 2 streets, so I'm going to bet. And over here with pocket queens, just gonna bet for value versus a whale. And folding over here. Okay, gonna go for thin value. Don't think villain checks back king queen or ace king, even though he is on the really passive side. I think he has plenty of worse king x's, like king 10, king 8. 9 is kind of annoying because villain can have king 9, but I think our hand is good enough of the times to go for value. Cool, so the reason I bet the turn here, I think our hand is strong enough to go for two streets. And yeah, we have worse king X that we can check if we wanted to pick off a river bluff. So yeah, decided to bet there. Yeah, we have like all the worst king X's. I think we can bet like, I don't know, king 9 plus on the turn maybe, and then check back like king 9 and king 10 if king 9 didn't improve. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we can bet all the king 9 pluses on the river, depending on the river. Here, what c-bet size to use? I think I'm going to start off with half pot. How long have we been recording? Close to an hour. Oh, I need to go feed the cats. I'm gonna take a really quick break. Okay, well, it looks like the 2.5 hotkey only works like half the time. Just strange. Against the whale, his range should be super, super wide. I'm just gonna start off with a small c-bet. Basically, because his range is wide, and I expect him to float with worse. Yeah, gonna check back. We have some showdown value. Have the best hand here, I think, a lot of the times. And yeah, checking down. Okay, be right back.